There's still a long ways to go, and it's a logjam. There's I don't know how many teams. It seems like 5 or 6 fighting for the last couple spots here, and it's gonna you can't afford to not be consistent down the stretch here. So we got a lot of work ahead of us and a lot of big time games, and I think if you start looking at the big picture and all the games and kind of do the math, it could be a lot to think about. So I think the main focus right now, our team is just present and try to worry about the next one.
Quinn talked last night about the belief within the group right now, every time you guys go and play, that you feel like you can win regardless of who you're playing against. How has that grown this year, and what's it like in that dressing room right now in that regard?
Yeah, I think guys are obviously confident. I think the good news is we've found different ways to win throughout the season. Sometimes it's been coming from behind in the third period. Sometimes it's closing out tight games, or obviously we've had some great goaltending that's really helped us out, and special teams has been a little bit better lately too. So I think we're finding different ways, and I think the positive thing is I still don't think we've played probably our best at all. I think we still got a lot of things we can correct. I think we've at times given up too many chances, and Demers bailed us out. So we're growing as a team. Obviously, there's been a lot of guys that probably haven't been in this situation where you're fighting every day to try to make up ground. So I think guys are starting to learn a little about themselves, and this is the funnest time of the year.
Luke, nice to see Scott Walker back out there today.
Yeah, we saw him yesterday. Actually, he was just around after the morning skate. Obviously, you feel so bad for him. I mean, obviously he's a warrior on the ice when he played. I played against him, I think, back earlier on in my career, and I just remember what a player he was. And coming here, he's just like an even better guy, and just so just the best assistant coach, easy guy to talk to, and jokes around with the guys, and kind of like one of those guys where probably feels like a teammate almost, right? Where you just can relate to him in so many ways. So the fact of what he's gone through and still trying to come back and help us out, I mean, obviously just an unbelievable guy to be around, and it's great seeing him around, and we hope he just continues to feel better.
Luke, you've got 19 playoff games in the last 2 seasons under your belt, and you've got the rings to prove it. But it took until your 6th season in Toronto to actually make the playoffs.
Right.
Do you remember that journey at the time and how difficult it was, and how can you impart that to the young guys today to embrace it? I know Miller's had a lot of playoff experience. You've won a cup. Pierce has won a cup. But it's the journey. Do you find in your position here now that maybe you've got to impart some of that wisdom to the young guys about how hard it is to get there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, like you said earlier on in your career, you're just you watch the playoffs every your season ends early, and all you do is dream about playing in the playoffs and kind of getting that experience, and just that opportunity to try to fight for the Stanley Cup. And fortunately, the last couple of years, I've put in a situation where able to achieve a lifelong dream, and going through that, it's you learn a lot. The experience is there's nothing else you can really match to have that experience, and just the emotions, I think, is the big thing that goes the highs and lows throughout playoffs or down the stretch fighting for positioning like we're doing right now. It's just being able to be consistent and continue to fight through adversity. And I mean, there's no sort of script. Some guys come in their career and they win the Stanley Cup in their first year, and they don't get a sniff ever since. And then you look at guys, just thinking top of my head, like when my brother won the cup in St. Louis, like Jay Bomeister, I don't think made the playoffs forever, and then he ended up winning a cup towards the end too. So there's no perfect way or script that guys can get the opportunity, but the experience goes a long way.
Does the postseason excite you, Luke? Because your type of game is what you see in the postseason. You touch the puck, you're usually going to get hit pretty hard. Is that what entices you about the postseason play? Your game seems to be geared toward that.
I love it. Give me chills just thinking about it. I mean, postseason, yeah, because obviously it's you're fighting for every inch out there, and what it comes down to is compete and will, and basically one-on-one matches up against you and a guy, whether it's in front of the net or in the corner, or just diving to make that extra play to get the puck out across the play. And every play is magnified that much more, and that's what excites you as a player, is just that compete and bringing your best against the other guy's best. Obviously, teams are fighting totally different level than the regular season. So, yeah, I mean, it's physical, it's heavy hockey. You see that in the last number of years, those are the teams that win, are the teams that step up and play that obviously you need skill and speed for sure, but the teams with the big, heavy guys and, teams that can take care of the front of the net and defend hard, those are the teams that win. You don't outscore teams in playoffs, you out-defend them.
Does this team remind you of any you've been on that's made a really good push in the second half to get close to a playoff spot or get in?
Actually, the 1 year I made playoffs in Philly, I believe we were out of it, and I think there's a coaching change, and Craig Berube came in halfway through the year, and we were able to kind of climb back, and we ended up losing, I want to say in 7 to the Rangers, but it was a similar sort of story, and I actually remember it we were having a tough season, and Ray Emery got put in halfway through the game, and he ended up fighting in Washington, went up, chased down Braden Holtby, and that turned our season around. So that's the memory from that season.
Hey, Luke, what is it about this time of the year from a player's perspective when you're in the heat of the battle? I know the start of the season, guys are excited, and then you get the grind of playing a full season, but to be in it at this time of the calendar year from a player's perspective?
It's amazing because all you're doing, there's such a buzz around like the league, and you're watching other team scores and standings, and you'll have a game on, the night before a game, and you're rooting against teams, you're cheering for teams that really you have no business even caring about, but it's just all based on standings. So everyone's feeling that. You'll come to the rink the next morning, hey, did you see the score in last night? And guys are talking about before morning skate, and you kind of know what's ahead of you for that day. So there's a certain buzz this time of the year. We can feel it in the city, in the building, throughout games too. I think everyone feels it, and obviously, like I said, it's been a crazy year. We've had a massive hole to climb out of, and we're there. But in saying that, there's still so many games left, and we got to continue to push here. I mean, like I said, you can't afford to have a slide at all. You got to be consistent and find ways.
How about that buzz in the building, especially on this homestand? How enjoyable is it for you guys after so many games in empty buildings or half-empty buildings to have the crowd really into it? The Bruce There It Is chants, they're getting on the referees. Like, is that something that really pushes you guys forward in those moments?
There's no question. I mean, like, you even come out for warm-ups now, and I feel like half the lower bowl is full and people screaming and cheering, and like you can feel the buzz, and it does almost feel like a playoff atmosphere, and you can see how much energy there's in the building. We feed off it for sure. I mean, sometimes the other night in Tampa, I think we're down a couple, and you can hear the crowd trying to get behind us, so we're up, and that just feeds energy into the building too. And even actually, my parents just got in yesterday from Saskatoon, and they were at games before Christmas too, and they said coming back, a few months later, it's just night and day how much energy there is, and obviously what people have dealt with the past couple of years too. I think everyone's happy to be out and about and together in large gatherings, but. There's definitely a real energy going on here, and we can feel it as players.
With 3 winnable games here before what you would normally be consumed by, that would be the Monday trade deadline, does this push put that stuff on the back burner, or is it still in the back of your minds? I mean, you've got a kind of game that teams would be interested in a postseason run. Does this stretch, do you think about the trade deadline at all, or can you put that in the back burner for now?
As players, everyone's obviously aware of it. Obviously, there's... You have a pretty good sense of what teams would be looking at in terms of contracts and everything like that, and teams that are making a real push. So I mean, you're definitely aware of what's going on. At the end of the day, I think as a player, all you try to do is control, your play on the ice, and obviously the goal is to continue to be a part of it here. I mean, absolutely love it here, and I think we're growing as a group. And saying that, obviously. We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors and meetings. So, we get paid to be on the ice, and they have jobs to do. In terms of building a team. So really out of our control, but there's no question. We do have a good thing going here.
Hey Luke, last night JT Miller gives Brad Hunt the belt. We were kind of joking around that this guy could be a motivational speaker when he retires. I mean, for a 6'7" D-man, what's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he's awesome to be around. He's just every day so much positive energy. I mean, like the first day I showed up to training camp here, he came up to me and gave me a big hug. Hey Schenn, how you doing? And I'm thinking, I'm going up to him, where have I played with this guy? How do I know? And that was the first time I ever met him. So it's like, he's just that positive guy. He doesn't change, and he goes by everyone. You get 25 fist pounds a day from him saying, hey, good job or whatever. So, yeah, he's just a positive guy to be around. And, we love having him. And he's playing really good right now, too.
How important are guys like that to have around your team, for a guy like him, was out of the lineup for various stretches of the year, but, still bringing that positive energy every day.
Yeah, that's the thing about him, and that's how guys stick around a long time too, who aren't in the lineup every day, is that they just bring that work ethic and that positive attitude where coaches love being around them, obviously teammates and trainers and everyone. It's like there's no mood swings. It's just consistency, on the ice, putting in the work, but also the positive attitude too. And it doesn't matter, like I said, if he's out of the lineup and, might have had an assist in the game before and whatever reason he's out of the lineup the next game, it doesn't change his attitude. And, he's just, he's awesome to be around. And like I said, he's jokes around all the time. He's been around a long time. And like I said, guys have some good laughs with him. And, you can never have too many of those guys.
When you talk about positive culture, it's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but is that what it looks like for you guys in the dressing room and on the day-to-day?
I think so. Obviously at times there's emotions and guys, are frustrated on the bench or in the intermissions, and which is good. You don't want everyone to just be, high-fiving when things don't go well. You got to push each other as teammates and as buddies. But I think that's what makes good teams good is, you shouldn't have to get it from the coach all the time or anyone else. It's when you're pushing your teammate to be better and not because, you don't like the guy. It's because you want to help the team. So if someone gives it to me too and I'm not, doing my job, then I actually respect that more. So I know it's coming from a good place, and I think, that's one thing that, guys are kind of stepping up and doing.